Personal log. Commander Logan. Stardate. Computer. Delete last log entry. Personal log. Captain Logan. Stardate 47269.8. I've been stationed on Starbase 234 for the past 2 weeks. Yesterday, the ship, my ship, arrived fresh from Utopia Planitia. I spent a few hours with Commander Cockings, one of the ship's head engineers, getting a tour around engineering and the lower decks. I'm currently sitting in the observation lounge, and I can't take my eyes off of her. U.S.S. Avalon, registry number NCC 72393. She's a Nova class and representative of Starfleet's new design direction, fit for purpose. She isn't the Galaxy class or Nebula, cities in space. Not after the Borg. The Nova's built for research and scientific exploration, and to that end, she has the latest and greatest in sensor technology, lab equipment, analytical modules, and so on. She does possess advanced weaponry, but she isn't a warship, and her crew complement is 78. I suspect I'll be getting to know each and every person aboard the ship extremely well, which will be a significant departure from the U.S.S. Helios, where I recently served as first officer. Speaking of officers, my bridge crew is set to arrive at any moment. Computer, play Starfleet personnel records summary for Lieutenant Tak Damari.
Plain personnel record for Lieutenant Tak Damari. Ancestry, Bajoran. Raised, Earth, Sausalito. Current assignment, Chief Engineer, U.S.S. Avalon. Former assignment, U.S.S. Kurosawa. Starfleet graduate, 2355. Awards and commendations. Starfleet Academy Distinguished Honor Graduate. Starfleet Decoration of Gallantry. Daystrom Institute Award in Science for Warp Field Manipulation. Extrapolation, strangely, not much forward advancement for a lieutenant of this caliber.
Computer, play Starfleet personnel records summary for Lieutenant Commander Desraya Nora.
Personnel record for Lieutenant Commander Desraya Nora. Ancestry, Trill. Unjoined. Former initiate. Current assignment, First Officer, U.S.S. Avalon. Former assignment, Head of Security, U.S.S. Vatanari. Destroyed. Starfleet graduate, 2363. Awards and commendations. Special commendation for bravery regarding the destruction of the U.S.S. Vatanari. Starfleet Academy Expert Marksmanship Award.
Computer, play Starfleet personnel record summary for Ensign Gauri Sarala.
Personal record for Ensign Gauri Sarala. Ancestry, human. Current assignment, Flight Officer, U.S.S. Avalon. Starfleet graduate, 2370. Awards and commendations. Starfleet Academy record for the Pluto Lightcraft Endurance Race. Utah Salt Flats High Speed Achievement.
Thank you, computer.
And with that, you're looking out the window of the observation lounge, and streaking out of warp, you see a large Galaxy-class starship. You recognize it as you catch the registry number. It's the U.S.S. Odyssey, the same ship you know is transferring your crew to Starbase 234. And almost on cue, you hear the chime of the communicator, and you're... Captain Logan, the Odyssey has just arrived. They'll begin transferring the crew any moment.
Acknowledged. I'll be right there.
Okay. We're now inside of a small Type 6 shuttlecraft. A pilot from the U.S.S. Odyssey is guiding it towards Starbase 234. On board is Lieutenant Commander Nora, Lieutenant Commander Tak, and Ensign Sarala. You see the ensign piloting the shuttle, the ensign from the U.S.S. Odyssey. You see them kind of straining, looking out the front viewport of the shuttle. Like, where is it? And it's like, oh, didn't even see it. It's such a tiny little ship.
She may be small, but she is the best in her class.
Well,
I certainly hope you don't think it's all size, Ensign. Not with the most advanced sensors that have come off the line at Starfleet Academy.
no, sir. No, not at all. I just kind of surprised. I hadn't actually seen one in person, but it's a beautiful looking ship.
New paradigm, Ensign. A new paradigm.
Well, we should be coming into the hangar any moment now. And you guys, the shuttle slowly cruises towards the shuttle bay on board Starbase 234, where Captain Logan is waiting for you, and you see your Nova class ship docked there. It's relatively sleek compared to most Starfleet designs at the time. She's 180 meters long, roughly. And it's, for a ship coming right out of Stardock, it's a sight to behold. It's not very often you get to see these. A lot of the ships in Starfleet right now have been in service for at least 5-10 years, if not longer, like the Miranda and whatnot. But we'll be docking in just a moment. And the shuttle slowly cruises down on and sets down inside the shuttle bay. Logan, you're watching from a viewport above the shuttle bay. Shuttle sets down. The rear cargo hatch opens, and you guys are able to step out onto the Starbase hangar, where walking forward, you see Captain Logan.
Well, hope your journey was pleasant. I'm Captain Logan. You must be Nora?
Yes, sir.
Pleasure to
Lieutenant
meet you.
Commander Desra Nora. Nice to meet you.
Hope you don't mind if I call you number 1 from here on.
Sure, no problem, sir.
I assume you've brushed up on the Nova class, familiar with all of her systems and crew complement?
Of course.
Excellent. She's fresh off the line, Commander. Let's make sure we've tested everything that we can. I'd like a report on level 1 diagnostics on all major systems, please, by 0800 tomorrow.
Will do, sir.
Welcome aboard. Ensign? I was noting in your record you have a certain penchant for speed, don't you, Ensign?
Yes, Captain.
Well, I'm afraid they might have put you on the wrong ship. You know, our ship is only capable of warp 8.
We'll see what she can do.
I like your thinking. Lieutenant?
Captain, permission to come aboard, sir.
Absolutely. It's been a long time, Damari.
Indeed it has, Captain.
Are you ready to take good care of my ship?
I'll pause a moment. Of course, sir. The best care.
Lieutenant, walk with me. And I think he'll kind of peel off with Damari, kind of separate from everyone else who's arriving off the shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
Aye, sir.
Lieutenant, I'm going to level with you. I've been following your career since Wolf 359. I'm sure it's no question as to why. The truth is, when my sister died, I wanted to blame anyone. And you gave that order. It took me a long time to realize that what the order that you gave was the right one. You saved everyone else aboard that ship. You made the right call. Lieutenant, I realized you weren't someone I ever wanted on my ship, but you were someone I needed. So, this is a bit informal and I apologize. I'm not one for pomp and circumstance. And he will hold his hand out and present the black pip, denoting a promotion to Lieutenant Commander.
I will shake the captain's hand, hold it for a minute, and pin it. I'll take a moment, maybe searching the deck. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Well, there are times I'm still living in that day, Captain, and I'm happy to move forward under different circumstances. Your sister was an exemplary officer.
She was, and she spoke highly of you as well, so glad to have you, Chief. All right, if I call you Chief?
Absolutely, sir. One more note, though, sir.
Of course.
I hope to never be in that situation again.
So do I.
But I would make the same call. Even now.
I know you would. That's why you're here.
Thank you, sir.
Chief, you've got an engine room to inspect. Listen, Starfleet says this ship is warp 8. That's not good enough for me. Let's see what we can do about that,
I've got a few theories, Captain, I've been working on. I think we'll be able to push the warp limit.
Excellent. All right. I'll see you aboard.
Thank you, sir.
And I think Logan would go to his room and pack the rest of his personal belongings.
Certainly. You can easily do that. If anyone wants to do anything on the starbase before they depart, you are certainly welcome to do that. Starbase 234 is a fairly large starbase. It's centered near the border with Klingon and Romulan space on, for lack of a better term, western edge of the Federation. You will most likely be serving out of this starbase for the time. You'll be coming back and forth to Starbase 234 as the Nova is more of a short-range vessel. But if no one wants to do anything else on board, we will proceed to get underway, so to speak.
I'm going to walk the ship.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm itching to get on the ship and into the engine room. I don't want to be on another starbase.
Okay. So all of you make your way towards the ship. The primary airlock for the Nova is on deck 8, which is also where main engineering is just one deck up. So who's ever heading on board the ship, they make their way towards the docking port, and you make your way on board the Nova. And you guys walk the ship, specifically Commander Nora. You're walking the ship. You know, it's got that new ship smell, so to speak. As you're walking around, there's plenty. The crew also seems, just from walking around, the crew seems relatively young. Seems to be a lot of recent graduates from the academy, or probably only serving for a few years in Starfleet itself. But it's kind of exciting. You make your way to the main engineering on deck 7.
I will. Before I go, though, to Ensign Sarala. Be like, Ensign Sarala?
Yes, Lieutenant Commander.
I'd like to see the ship go beyond Warp 8 myself, but let's not push it too hard on the first day.
I can ease her out, sir.
Thank you, Ensign. And I'll head to main engineering.
Okay. You make your way to main engineering. The first thing, you're kind of shocked by how small main engineering is on board this ship. I mean, main engineering on a lot of other Starfleet ships is huge. Here, main engineering it's one deck really, but you have Jeffrey Tube access to an upper level deck, and then there's one on the lower level as well. But there's mainly 4 stations where people are operating out of, and you've got your blue swirling warp core in front of you.
I'm like, all right, Damari, you're in a new ocean now. Well, maybe a pond. 4 stations. 4 stations. 4 stations is all you need, Damari. That's it.
Right now, it doesn't seem to be anybody really working here in engineering, but you'll certainly get to know those members of your primary engineering crew soon, I'm sure.
I'll be happy to be alone in main engineering for a bit.
Certainly. Vincent Serralo, is there anything you would like to do, either on the Starbase or on board the Avalon before they get underway?
No, I'm pretty eager to sit in the seat, see how she feels.
I will say you make your way to your quarters, and you're a little shocked to discover that you have a roommate. Well, it at least looks like you have a roommate. There's no one else in your quarters right now, but due to the small size of the Nova, junior officers typically had to share their quarters. The senior staff all have their own quarters, but a lot of the crew, they have bunks in their rooms, or they're double, or sometimes there's even 4 people to a room. Because there's not a lot of space for crew quarters on board the Nova. And your ship, most Novas don't even have recreation facilities like a holodeck. But the Avalon has lucked out, as some of Commander Logan's past experience working with early EMH programming has turned the Avalon into a testbed for the EMH Mark I. And that required that a holodeck be installed for maintenance and engineering. But yes, you're a little shocked at having a roommate. Hopefully you get to meet whoever this roommate is soon. Commander Nor, is there anywhere you wanted to particularly inspect on board the ship, or you're just giving it a walkthrough?
She's walking it from front to back, back to front. So she's making her way slowly to the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Along the way, she's going to stop into her quarters.
Okay.
Drop her few things off. She doesn't have much. Probably I'm just going to walk up to the outer wall of the hull and just give it a tap. Hello, girl.
Your quarters are actually located on deck 1, along with the captain's quarters, and there's one other senior officer quarter on that deck. Hasn't been claimed yet, but it could easily go to the chief engineer, or perhaps the ship's counselor. The ship's counselor you have yet to receive, but hopefully you'll hear about that soon.
Are there other senior beyond that outside of deck 1?
Yes, there are some officers' quarters on deck 2 as well. But if you wanted to, you could claim, as chief engineer, you could probably stake a claim in any of those quarters.
I'll go on deck 2 actually. That's closer to main engineering.
Okay, you stake your claim there on deck 2. A lot of the rooms also on the Nova class. There aren't many windows, as it's fairly utilitarian in its design and use. The captain himself and those quarters on deck 1 do actually have windows, if that matters to you.
Yeah, you gotta have a place to look pensive, you know.
You can go to
back, looking out the window.
All right, then so be it. I'll take deck 1.
All right. So you all take time. You get settled in your quarters.
So I think Logan has not yet been to the bridge. I think he got a tour of most of the rest of the ship, but I think he thought it was bad luck to go on the bridge before ready to get underway. So I think he's going to take his time heading to the bridge.
You make your way through the corridors, and there is really only one turbo lift on board the one primary turbo lift shaft on board the Avalon. And as you know, turbo lifts, they go up and down and forward and backwards. So just kind of, you have one that goes down from deck 1 through kind of all the way to all the decks of the ship to the back. But and interestingly, the turbo lift does not turn out directly onto the bridge. It goes into a corridor on deck 1.
It's a little bit annoying.
All right, here we go. But yeah, so you make your way up.
Yeah, I think Logan will pause just outside of the door to the bridge, straighten his uniform, and take a deep breath. And step
Doors slide open in front of you. There's no one on the bridge currently, but you take it all in. There's a row. There's 2 seats near the center that are one for yourself and the first officer, kind of set out like the Voyager's officers are. There's one primary console in the front for the flight controller, and there's a number of multi-use stations scattered around the outer perimeter in the rear of the bridge. Interesting thing with the Nova is there's no dedicated tactical. There's all the stations are multi-purpose, and just whatever you need to bring up on a console, you can rig it to do so.
Right. Pretty modular like that.
And you step out onto the bridge and you see just the void of space through the primary viewer ahead of you, and you just kind of take it all in for a moment, and you've got your own ship. You're in command.
Yeah, I think he would walk around, put his hand on the back of the chair, take a look at the stations, and kind of take it all in. I think he's pretty overwhelmed.
Yeah. Well, the ship is, it's in your command, so you can take it out when you want.
All right. Are people arriving on the bridge at this point after he kind of looks around?
Yeah, some of your crew begins to trickle in. Lieutenant Commander Nora, would you be to the bridge quickly after you settle in, or?
I have very little, so I probably just dumped my stuff in a dresser and I'm in the bridge.
Your first officer arrives on the bridge. You there see your seat, also in that same row with the captain's seat. It's interesting because every other ship in Starfleet, has that one big center chair, and it's almost like you and the captain share the central position here on the bridge.
Well, welcome to the bridge, Commander.
Thank you, Captain. She's a beautiful ship, sir.
She's not bad, huh? She'll do. I'm ready to get underway. How about you?
Certainly. Looking forward to it, sir.
Ensign, would you take your station, please?
Absolutely. Slide into the chair, make myself comfortable.
Yep. And also coming on board the bridge is a female Endorian ensign. You recognize her from her personnel record that you've seen. It's Ensign Kier. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Or how you were thinking it's pronounced.
Yeah.
And she said, "Captain, it's an honor to be aboard your ship. I'm ready to serve."
We're glad to have you.
And she's wearing the yellow of operations, the gold of operations, and she takes a seat at the ops console, one of the consoles that have been designated as ops behind you to your right.
Got it. All right. I think he would stand up, kind of put his hands behind his back. Commander, would you open a channel to the entire ship, please?
I'll do so.
You hear the beep indicating that channels are open to the whole ship.
The bosun's whistle. Look.
Yeah.
Could
You suddenly
whistle
pull
it
a
there.
bosun whistle out of your pocket.
Welcome, everyone, to the Avalon. She's small. I know that's probably a change for most of you, but this is home. This is home for the next, well, we don't know how long yet. We're still awaiting orders. Expect you all to take good care of her, and she'll take good care of you. We're a small crew, so we're all going to get to know each other extremely well. I suggest you keep an open mind. There's a lot of different species aboard this ship, a lot of different cultures. I assume you haven't made it this far in the Federation without brushing up against some different cultures, but here there's not really anywhere to hide. We're going to get along like one big family. I'm honored to be your captain. I propose we get underway sooner rather than later. I don't want to sit at this starbase anymore. I hope I have no objections from the crew. Logan out.
That the comm line closes, and you're left aboard the bridge.
Okay.
And you have a standing order where you can take the ship. You can take the ship out. You're supposed to receive your orders very soon.
Okay. Bridge to engineering.
This is engineering, Captain.
Chief, is that warp core ready to go? Are we online?
Warp core is online. I've run full diagnostics twice. Deuterium collectors are good. Matter-antimatter chamber is operating within effective range. We are good to take her out for a spin, Captain.
Thank you, Chief. Bridge out. Commander, open a line to Starbase 234, please.
Open.
You're open.
Commander, will you ask them if we're clear for launch?
Starbase 234, this is Commander Nora of the U.S.S. Avalon. Are we clear for launch?
U.S. Avalon, you are go for launch. Stand by for clearing of moorings. All moorings clear. And if there was an outside view right now, you'd see the docking umbilical slowly retracting from the ship. And you get another communication and stand by your station keeping thrusters till you're clear of the station.
Understood. Commander, cut the signal. Ensign, have you ever piloted a starship out of a starbase?
I have not.
Excellent. Commander, can you disable the autopilot overrides? Switch to manual.
Very well, sir. And I'll go to a console and do just that.
Key in a few things. Disengage the autopilot.
I'll be like, Ensign Ramirez, I've got some strange fluctuations before. You're like, run that again.
Ensign, you now have the con. This ship is fully under your control. Take us out of here ahead 1/4 impulse.
Yes, sir.
Reach over and grab the edge of the console and just hold it.
I want to keep in mind that the chief told me to ease her out as well, so I won't. I'm not gonna be crazy about it.
I'm not gonna go just full on burn out of the station.
No.
Yeah, I think popping out at 1/4 impulse is definitely like peeling out of a parking lot. It's the equivalent of like.
No, that'd be crazy. So we're gonna do a roll just for fun.
Yeah.
Sure.
So let's this is just gonna be a standard. You're gonna be using your my brain is failing right now. It's too caught up in the moment.
Control and con, maybe?
Yes, control and con, please. And standard
Difficulty 1.
Difficulty 1, 2 dice roll.
Everyone holds their breath.
Yep, you easily succeed on that. Talk, give me a engines and
Engines and con.
Yes, please.
Difficulty 1.
Yep, one die.
That roll. Yep. Rolled.
The ship does not help, but you, Ensign Sorala, you feel the ship. You don't feel it hugely because of the inertial dampeners, but the ship begins to kick forward slowly, and you successfully clear the moorings and the docking port of Starbase 234. You are in open space.
Nice job, Ensign. That was some good piloting.
Thank you, Captain. When do you want me to open her up?
Well, I think we're at minimum safe distance. Let's take it a full impulse, Ensign. He'll sit
Yes,
down.
sir.
And as the ship glides into full impulse, Tak, you're seeing immediately the energy usage going up as the ship creeps to full impulse.
Yeah, I'll be like, readjust those for manual piloting. They're clearly planning on opening it up, Ensign.
And
Commander,
You are-
was that an asteroid belt I saw out around the fourth planet?
you're muted.
Someone
Yes, sir.
disengage silence field around the commander.
Yes, sir, you are correct. It is about half a light year away.
Ensign, set a course. Let's test out these phasers,
Yep, you land a course and you cruise on over at full impulse to the asteroid belt. Are you gonna make this a moving target operation, or?
Absolutely, we're gonna make it a moving target operation.
All right. So you cruise over, and there are the several asteroids. Luckily, on this side of the asteroid belt, there's no mining operations, so you should be all right shooting at a few asteroids here.
All right. Show me. Magnify 8x right there. That one.
View screen comes in, and you see this rough brown gray asteroid sitting there, floating in space.
Tactical. Switch phasers over to manual. Commander, I assume you can still target a ship's phasers,
Like no other, sir. And
Excellent.
I will square up at the console, the station,
Okay.
and I'll manually put in the coordinates to aim.
Okay. So you're taking that aim there. Easy enough. So you're going to need a control security. And since you're doing this manually, I'm going to say this is difficulty 2.
And she'll be assisted by the ship, correct?
Correct. And she'll be assisted by the ship's weapons and security.
Perfect. That's what I have up. Just one die.
Assist roll is always 1 die.
Got it. The ship is attempting to compensate.
Complication range is the difficulty, right?
Complication. No, I'm sorry. It is just the. So to the right of task roll.
Mm-hmm.
The difficulty is. I'm sorry. The difficulty is just whatever it is. There's no setting for the difficulty in this character sheet. It just means you need 2 successes.
Okay.
And the ship got 1 for you, so you're only needing 1.
Roll 1 more die for me. So, with the ship's assistance, you fire one of the ventral phaser banks, streaming the gold beam of energy, striking the asteroid cleanly. It was easy.
Now, these are Type 11 phasers, right? So that asteroid's probably decimated, I would guess.
Yeah, they're Type 11.
Or aren't they? I think they are.
There's a lot of conflicting information.
Oh, okay. Either
They're
way,
Type 11.
I think Logan would just be like, "Woo! Oh, excellent job, Commander."
Captain, she fired slightly to the left. I suggest we do some diagnostics. Make sure everything is properly aligned. I'll take care of it.
Excellent, thank you, Commander. That's why we do this. Ensign, how's she feel?
Slow, but I think once we get her into some open space, we'll see some improvements.
Understood. I'll make a note to the chief that my ensign's complaining that the ship is a bit too slow. We'll see what we can do about that.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to do to test your ship, Captain?
No, I think we would just kind of keep zipping around the solar system as best we can. I don't think we'd go to warp just yet, but I think maybe we could play that out here in a second. Is there anything important nearby that we could warp to that would be like a good an hour in warp or something like that?
I mean, you could really just pick a point in space if you wanted to just check it.
And at this point, the warp speed limit's in play, right?
Technically, that has not happened yet.
It's not happened yet? All right.
No.
Excellent. I couldn't remember my timeline. Well, Ensign, let's open her up. Bridge to engineering.
Got it, sir.
Bridge to engineering.
This is engineering, Captain.
Chief, are you ready to take this vessel to warp?
Yes, Captain. Acknowledged. We can go to warp. Would suggest not going above warp 4.
My ensign's complaining about this ship being a bit slow. I'm afraid we're going to have to really open her up, Chief. Stand by. Bridge out.
All right, you heard him, Ensign. Okay. Make sure those plasma conduits are locked in place. We ran the diagnostics, but we're going to be sure.
All right, Ensign, lay in a course. Anywhere you fancy. Warp factor 8 on my mark.
Since Sorella, you lay in your course quite easily, since you're just going to a point in space. And what speed did you say?
Warp factor 8.
Full bore. All right. So you're ready to go. You're getting readings from all the consoles, Ensign Sorella, that you're good from engineering. The course is laid in, and the ship's ready.
Do I need to make a roll for this?
Just for this, I'm gonna say no.
All right.
Okay.
Punch it, Ensign.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I'm just gonna pretend like I'm in like a smaller vessel because that's what I'm used to flying, and I'm just gonna push back into the chair like I'm getting.
You're feeling the acceleration.
Yeah.
And space begins to streak past you outside the view screen, and you guys jet into warp. And she's cruising. Tak, you're monitoring everything while you're at max warp, because this is pushing the warp core to its limits. The Nova can probably really only go warp 8 for maybe 24 hours. But you're just monitoring everything right now.
I'll keep everybody on it. This serves as a good stress test. Keep that in mind. This is a brand new ship. Problems can arise. We're also not going to tell the captain that he can't go at warp 8 on day 1.
All right. Just for fun, give me a reason in engineering as you're looking over everything down there.
Reason,
2 dice.
Engineering, 2 dice.
Beautiful. And where'd my little?
That's what I do here.
You look over everything, and everything is running. It's running way better than you actually anticipated. It looks great. You're surprised how well it's working.
I'll point that out to a few of the young crew. Just be like, we shouldn't actually be maintaining this power efficiency, Ensign. So this is actually pretty incredible. Keep that in mind. Most ships won't do that.
And with that, I'll give you guys 2 momentum with those 2 successful rolls for you to use later down the line. As you guys are cruising at warp, Commander, you see down on your console, right on your chair, that there's an incoming hail from Starfleet Command.
Incoming hail from Starfleet Command, Captain. Should I let them through?
On speaker. Or on screen.
And the view of outside blips off, and on screen you see Admiral Nechayev, who's I wouldn't say she's an old woman. She has blonde hair. On screen says, Captain Logan, how are you today? I understand your ship's just getting underway.
That's right, Admiral. She's purring like a kitten. My kudos to Planitia Utopia.
Well, I have your orders if you're ready to receive them.
Absolutely. Please, Admiral. We're excited about getting underway.
Well, as you know, your counselor wasn't available when you first came, just 234. But she is actually at a nearby planet, Xerxes IV. She's assisting a small research team there with research on a potential cure to a neurological disorder. You're to make your way to Xerxes IV, potentially assist with any research there, and then we'd also like you to complete a full planetary survey of the planet.
Of course, Admiral. Happy to.
Excellent. And and as always, good luck out there.
Thank you, sir.
And the comm line blips off.
Well, Ensign, you heard the Admiral set a course for Xerxes IV. Let's cut back to Warp Factor 4.
Reducing warp, laying in the course, sir.
All right.
Engage at your leisure.
And to lay in for this one, since this is a longer jump here, give me a control con to just plot that course real quick. I'm sorry, it's a reason con to plot that course. And the ship's computers and what's another ship? What's the other ship stat? Sorry. Computers and engineering assist roll.
Computers and engineering. Got it.
No, Engineering Institute is not a subclass of tour guide.
Whoa, computer.
Computer. Oh, you do actually have 8 threat because I start the scenario with 2 threat per player.
Oh.
We're gonna have to. Am I rolling one? Yeah, because I'm assisting 1 die.
Yep,
Got
yep.
it.
That's all right. It was a difficulty 0 task, but that'll score 1 additional momentum. Of course, and you have all indications in that the course has been laid into Xerxes IV. It's approximately a day away from your current location. So you can get underway whenever you are ready to.
Is that the kind of information that I would relay to the captain?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, if he's describing, I think, a console, that probably makes the most sense. Even though it's redundant for viewers, for us, the characters don't know what's on your console, I think.
Captain, it looks like we can arrive in about 1 day.
All right, that works for me. Commander, would you like to give the order?
Ensign?
Standing by.
Disengage sneezes.
I'm so sorry. Oh my god, I just pulled a hair.
That was good timing.
Oh my god. Ensign, you have your orders.
All right, I'll just press the right buttons here and get us going.
All right, and the ship jumps into warp, and you're on your way. And we'll cut that scene there. Is there anything that anyone wants to do during the transit time?
I do.
What would you like to do?
I want to find out who my roommate is.
Yeah.
Is it the same other ensign or Andorian?
Yeah, it is. You make your so once the ship goes into warp, I mean, it can more or less handle itself, and you have a little bit of time to go and get things situated in your room, and you actually are walking down to your quarters, and you walk in, and your roommate's still not in there, but You just kind of look around for a little bit, and you're about to step out, and doors swing open, and you basically almost run into each other, and you're met face to face with the same Andorian ensign from on the bridge, Ensign Kier. And she's like, "Oh, hello. I guess we're roommates."
Yeah, looks that way.
So when did you graduate?
Oh, just like a couple weeks ago.
Wow. This is my first posting on a starship, but I'm pretty excited to be out here. Never thought I'd be out here on the out in space, just cruising like this.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
I hope so. And she's like, "Are you from Earth?"
Yes, indeed I am.
I actually wasn't born on Andoria. I was born at was raised at the Andorian diplomatic complex on Earth, so I've spent some time on Earth myself.
Oh, that's very interesting.
And this is now when you actually look over to her side of the room, and you've never seen these in person, but kind of mounted on the wall, she has a set of the Andorian. I'm gonna mispronounce these. I think they're called ulhuans. They're these ceremonial blades that they use for ice fighting. It's a crazy sport. It's a ceremonial fight they do on Andoria. They are traditionally for cutting ice and stuff like that on Andoria.
So would I know anything about that?
I mean, with
or would
I would say, because you have cultural anthropology,
Hmm.
I would say with your focus, I mean, you've definitely heard of it. You've never seen one in person, though.
So, what did you say they were called?
I'm just making sure I'm saying them right. I think it's Olans.
Well, what's your name, Ensign?
I'm Ensign Kier, but that's just what I go by for short. Andorian names are kind of long.
That's all right. I'm Gari. Do you happen to think we're going to run into some ice so that you could use those ceremonial swords?
They're kind of a family relic. They my father gave them to me. I doubt I'll have to use them, but I've used them in the past, just sparring, but I've never used them on a person or anything.
Well, they sure look cool. If you need a partner, I'm willing to learn.
I'll keep that in mind. And excuse me, I had to get some sleep. I'm not on the ship's time scale yet. She heads over to her bed, and it was nice meeting you.
Same to you.
Ice cutters.
I think I would. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead,
No,
Captain.
you. I insist. I insist.
I was gonna actually head to the commander's quarters if I could.
Ushan, excuse me. It's an Ushan Tor.
Pronounced like Ushan. That Bajoran makeup looked tight.
That is how it's pronounced, Ushan.
Ushan, that earring dangle.
And you were gonna head to the commander's quarters?
I was. Do I meet the captain on the way, since he might have been doing the same? We turned.
Yeah, we both get in the turbo lift together.
Yeah, you both get in the turbo lift, and it goes to deck 1, and you both get out, and you're just you both turn the same way,
You're like,
and you're walking towards Commander Nora's quarters.
I'm over here, Commander. Go to my quarters instead.
Understood, Captain. I'll hit the door.
Come in.
Announce that I'm here. I'll slide open the door. Be like, Commander.
Chief.
I was wondering if you wanted to go down to the mess hall and have a drink, as we're some of the only senior staff, I thought it'd be nice to get to know each other. And I'm trying to be better about being more personable.
All right. Okay. Well, and she'll put down the book she was reading and she'll follow him out,
Okay.
looking very curious. Up to this point, she's been very stone-faced, very, very business.
Mm-hmm. The two of you make your way down to the mess hall, which is on deck 2 at the fore section of the ship. And this Nova also, most Novas have 2 separate mess halls, but this one only has one that's been centered in the forward section of the ship. It's our 2 forward, if you will. Not quite 10, but it's our 2 forward.
All right.
The doors slide open. There's several larger tables in there and a few smaller tables, and then just the replicators. There's unfortunately no bartender on board a Nova class ship.
And we'll make a holographic one here before too long. Don't worry.
You have to install some holo emitters in there too.
Preferred drink, Captain or Commander?
I developed a fondness for whiskey when I was in the academy. I'll take one.
I can do a whiskey myself. 2 synthohalls, please. Computer. Whiskey. Tennessee.
And you hear the sound of the replicator, and the 2 glasses of whiskey appear there before you.
I will hand one to the commander.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, Commander, how long have you been in Starfleet?
Out of character, it's 7 years, right? She was accelerated, so
Yeah, I think it was 7. Sounds right.
About that, yeah.
just about 7 years.
Oh.
Yourself?
7 years, yes.
15.
Yeah.
Starfleet all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't think I'll ever
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I wasn't so sure once I got in, but a couple of days and I was home.
Interesting. Did you grow up on Trill?
Yes, my parents were politicians, so I spent most of my time there.
Oh, interesting.
I knew very little of the outside world. Read about it, but never really saw it.
Parents as politicians, I'm sure that had its ups and downs.
That's a word for it. Were you born on your home planet?
On Bajor, I was. I didn't live there long, for obvious reasons with the occupation. My parents got out in the diaspora. I was about 5 or 6. Bounced around for a couple years, but I was raised on Earth, right outside of San Francisco, Sausalito. My father had a restaurant, a Joran.
That's an interesting one.
Was my mother's a scientist, in fact. So, a bit more like my mother.
I'm still sure you can make a mean meal.
I think you overestimate my abilities in culinary, Commander.
Probably, but hey, I have no idea how to make small talk.
No, I'm not great at it myself. Well, we've got a brand new ship. I know everybody wants to stress test every piece of it.
Yeah, I wasn't so sure about our takeoff. I can't think of the word. It was definitely interesting.
It was interesting. I came to expect it on a brand new ship. Especially if I think most of the senior staff is from Earth, and I find most Earthlings want to test it immediately, how far it can go. Vulcans, not so much.
I think I would have enjoyed doing a few more diagnostics and test runs before we punched it.
Agreed. She is performing beautifully.
No,
It's
been
incredible.
perfect. I know. She is amazing. I'll give it that. But I wasn't expecting to end up here. But it works out. I think.
Does. Happy to be on a science vessel.
Yes. It's nice to be being the brand new one as well, so that's something. Where were you stationed last?
The Kurosawa last. Actually with the Counselor Drell, who I suppose we're en route to meet now.
Yes, that's right. So, found it interesting what the ship is equipped with, considering what we're going to be doing. We have our counselor and a holodeck. It's definitely a little unusual for what I've been through.
Strange. Holodeck was more surprising, although there's a number of simulations we should be able to run with the computer system before we actually run them on the ship, which I think will be valuable, including experiments.
Exactly. The weapon systems are impressive for this class as well, I have to say. Gonna have some definitely gonna have to take some time calibrating things to my liking, to my standards, but I was impressed.
Same. Anything I can do to help, Commander, of course I will.
Of course.
Well, here's to the Avalon and her crew.
I'll take a sip and probably relax a bit more.
Yeah, I think just chit chat after that. I mean, I don't know anything specific.
At that point, I think the drink leaves a bit more comfort, so slightly less awkward.
Of course. Captain, besides going to the commander, was there anything else you wanted to do?
Yeah, I think there is. I think if he knows that Ensign Sarala's off duty, Logan will find her, I guess, in her quarters or wherever. I mean, you can just ask the computer. Wherever she is, the captain will come find her.
Okay. Yeah, you make your way. Where would he find you, Ensign Sarala?
I guess since my roommate's sleeping, I probably wouldn't stay in the room.
Yeah, I mean, there's, besides the mess hall, there's an observation lounge on deck 7, I think, which I'm sure is a quiet place you could go, or really anywhere.
Yeah, I can go there. That sounds good.
Yep.
All right, so I think Logan would walk in to find her and just, Ensign, am I disturbing you?
No, sir. Just giving my roomie some time to sleep.
Understood. Ensign, how familiar are you with the Nova class?
Well, we studied it at Academy. I've never actually flown one before, though.
Well, you did great. Come with me. There's something I'd like to show you.
Okay.
And I will take the turbo lift to deck 4. And when we get off on deck 4, I will walk towards the bow of the ship. And I will say, Ensign, I think you're going to like this. And he'll open the door into the Waverider bay, which is essentially our, fast, atmospheric... It's like an F-18 that deploys out of the saucer of the Nova class.
Yeah. The Waverider is the fastest atmospheric flight craft that the Federation employs. It's specifically on the Nova class, so it can do things on planets with crazy atmospheres. It's roughly the size of a runabout. So, like an RV in space. This one does not look like an RV in space, though. It actually has, some short wings on it, and it's a pretty sleek-looking ship. You remember reading about one of these, but you've never actually seen one.
Real quick, I'm putting a link to it in chat, so that's what they look like right there. What do you think about that?
I understand we have 2 Type 8 shuttles, Captain.
That's right. They're fine. They're serviceable, but I am extremely excited about getting this into an atmosphere and seeing what you can do with it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I think he would run his hands along the nameplate, which says Excalibur.
Yep. right along the side of it, it says Excalibur, and then NCC, the same registry number as the Avalon. And it has a little /1 indicating it's the first secondary craft for the U.S.S. Avalon. And like Ensign Sorella said, there are 2 Type 8 shuttles on board in the shuttle bay at the rear of the ship.
All right, I think Logan would open up the cockpit area.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, why don't you have a seat in the pilot's chair?
Don't have to ask me twice, sir.
So, Ensign, you grew up on Earth, right?
Yes, Malaysia.
And I looked at your record. You were studying xenogastro... What was it again?
Xenogastroethnology, sir. It's basically the study of culture's food.
That's incredibly interesting.
It is. It's tasty, too, sometimes.
I was about to ask, what's the craziest thing you've eaten?
A beetle stuffed with a type of odd fungus that was native to a particular planet. Imperial Hinter was the name of the planet.
I think I'll stick to the replicators.
It wasn't that bad.
Excellent. Well, again, wanted to welcome you aboard the ship. Your record of speed definitely excited me.
Yeah, it looks like I'll be able to try this one out and relive some of my old heydays.
All right, excellent. Well, enjoy the rest of your time. I believe the holodeck's free if you'd like to take it for a spin. I'll see
Sounds
you on
good.
your next duty rotation.
Thank you, sir.
And yeah, is there anything else anyone would like to do?
We got a whole day in transit, but y'all tell me. Y'all tell Easy. I'm good.
All right,
Yeah, I think-
Nora will probably spend some time in the workout room.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The first 16 hours or so of your transit, completely uneventful. With the remainder of the trip ahead of you, just using standard Starfleet protocol, you attempted to hail the science facility at Xerxes IV. It's a fairly small facility. There's actually only 13 members of the team there. But no one is responding to hails at Xerxes IV.
Are you sure about that, Commander? Can you try them again?
Alexander already sent signals on all frequencies, sir. There's been no response. However, I can try again. Universal frequencies.
Bridge to engineering.
Engineering, Captain.
Chief, what can you do to boost our comms? We're having trouble reaching Xerxes IV. They're well within range at this point, and unclear what the reason is.
Well, Captain, we do have the advanced sensor suite. I could realign the sensors to give a more direct beam to their exact location and hope for that. But other than that, sir, I don't know what else.
Commander, what do you think? Should we give it a shot?
I tend to think worse, sir. However, if you believe that it's the correct thing to do, I support it.
Well, there's nothing else we can do in the following 8 hours. Make it so. Getting antsy.
So,
Go ahead.
Go on, Easy.
I was going to say, so you want to attempt to focus subspace communication through the advanced sensors?
I want to try to, pull them all together to focus the beam. Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
All right. So let's make we'll say this is a reason in engineering. See if you can pull this together.
Okay.
It's going to be difficulty 2. To do what you want to do is difficulty 1. So you could generate some momentum here if you wanted.
Gotcha. So roll 2 if I want to try to do momentum.
Oh, you're always going to roll 2.
Oh, always going to roll 2, but it's just difficulty 1. Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, you can easily reroute some of the communications through the advanced sensor suite and get a more tight subspace beam and attempt that communication again to Xerxes IV.
Engineering to bridge.
Go ahead.
I've rerouted sensors, and they should be pointed directly there. Anytime you're ready, Captain.
Commander, can you try to raise them again?
In doing so, sir, and I'll send a subsite signal.
So with this, just because you're also trying to push the communication, give me a control and we'll say engineering for this communication. Okay. You'll be assisted by the ship's computers and engineering.
Am I rolling that, or is someone else?
Sean, you got the ship roll?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
I really enjoy that our engineer is rolling the ship rolls.
Yeah.
And it was sensors and engineering?
Computers in this case.
Computers and engineering. Got it.
Here are a few nearby ones. One, engine and frame on Palmer's.
You gotta get that computer down there in engineering and control.
Yeah, I've got a computer glitch down here, Captain.
We'll run a level 2 diagnostic.
So, you are attempting to raise them on any channel that they should be responding to, but you're just not getting any response. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, for no one to respond, I mean, you can draw your own conclusions, but it makes no sense that no one is responding. As far as you can tell from your readings, you have a clear connection to Xerxes IV.
And Captain, with what the engineer, with what the chief did, there is no way that they're not receiving the signal, sir. Everything is going through loud and clear. There's no sign of any sort of response from the station, sir.
Thank you, Commander. Ensign, increase to warp 8. After that, Ensign, Commander, Logan to Damari.
Acknowledge, Captain. Damari here.
Damari, report to the ready room.
Acknowledge, Captain. Ensign, you have the console.
And Ensign Sarala, you quickly increase the speed of the ship to warp 8 as the ship streaks forward. At warp 8, you guys will be there in no time at all. You probably have less than a half hour to 20 minutes.
Okay. So I will ask the commander, the chief, and Ensign Sarala all into the ready room.
Okay. And you guys all make your way to the conference room that is on deck 1. And there's just a conference table there with enough seats for the whole senior staff.
So, the situation is that Xerxes should be receiving our communications, but don't appear to be. Have I got the majority of it there, number 1?
Yes, sir. If I may make a suggestion, I suggest we use our long-range scanners to maintain a constant scan for this.
Agreed.
I understand, Commander. I should be able to have a constant scan going with these sensors. I should be able to get atmospheric readings, no problem. I feel like I already would have picked up interference, but if you give me something more specific, I can definitely look for it.
What do we know about Xerxes? It's Class M, relatively mild from what I recall.
I know Counselor Drell from my previous assignment. I know she's been there for a couple weeks.
All right, well, let's be prepared for anything. Don't take anything for granted. We should be there in just a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. You guys all make your way back onto the bridge. Tak, I assume you return to engineering.
You know what? I'll take the engineering console on the bridge for now, actually. That way I can be a little closer contact with the rest of the bridge crew.
All right. You all make your way onto the bridge. you start that long-range sensor sweep. Gonna need a. So this will be a reason science task, assisted by the ship's sensors and science, and the advanced sensor sweep talent of the ship. I can't remember what it does. I think it lowers the difficulty.
Gotcha. So I did a reason and science for mine, and I'm going to sensors and science for the ship as well.
Yep, 1 die.
1 die. And the advanced sensor is sweet. What does that give me again? I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, I had to look myself because I can't remember.
Don't worry about it. We can come back to it.
Yep. Okay, yeah. We've got at least 2 successes here. All
right.
Me and the ship.
So the way a sensor sweep roll works there's actually a difficulty 0 task. It would generate 2 momentum, but the point of it is for you to spend that momentum to immediately gain information about what you're scanning. So you can ask me essentially 2 questions about it if you want to use both the momentums.
Captain, I have it up. Anything in particular you want me to look for?
Let's see if we can detect any signs of the research facility. Power outages, anything like that would indicate why they wouldn't be able to respond.
All right. GM, can I find the facility, and do I see any power issues?
So you do pick up the facility, and the facility seems to be having intermittent power issues. I should also say, I forgot this, but based on the sensor sweep, you are picking up high levels of ion interference in the upper atmosphere, which does not, based on information about Xerxes IV in the past, there's no records to indicate that type of activity.
Captain, I found the facility. They're having intermittent power failure. Oddly, I'm getting a strange ionization in the atmosphere, which is not typical of an M-class planet, and specifically not Xerxes VII.
Dangerous?
Could be, sir. It's too soon to tell, I'm afraid. Low ionization is fairly typical of many places, but this seems out of the ordinary.
Understood.
And you still have 1 momentum left that you can either bank, or you could ask me another question.
Okay. Am I picking up, if I'm looking for other anomalies? Actually, you know what? Can I look specifically for, trying to think, maybe like warp signals or essentially starship emissions?
So there are actually no starship emissions near the planet. You do know that the facility itself has a shuttlecraft, but there's no, beyond that shuttlecraft, there's no indications that any ships have been at Xerxes IV in recent time, within the past day at least.
Captain, I ran another scan. I'm not picking up any warp signatures or starship emissions. If anybody's come or gone, it's not been in the last day or so. So we can rule that out for ionization.
Chief, do we think that ionization of the atmosphere is going to prevent transporter activity?
Yes.
That level, sir? Absolutely. We would have to take a craft down.
Ensign, what's our time to arrival?
Less than 10 minutes, sir. Should we scan for life signs?
If we're close enough, yes. Make it so, Ensign.
A scan for life signs. Again, this would be a reason science, assisted with the ship's science and sensors. There's sensors and science, whichever.
Did you say reason and science?
Yes, reason and science to do that scan. And again, this is a difficulty 0 task that generates momentum that you use to ask me specific questions. We've already asked the specific questions, so that'll use one of them. But the sensors and science as well. From the ship, if you can talk.
Got it. It was sensors and science as well, right? That's what we said. Got it. Avalon's going.
Perfect. So
Locked in for you, Ensign.
The scan goes over the from this range. You pick up the scan of the planet. There's numerous non-humanoid life signs on the planet, and you are picking up 14 humanoid life signs that are most likely the research team plus Counselor Drell. And you have the one momentum that you generated that could be used to ask another question about this, or you can bank it.
All yours, Sierra.
I can't think of another question though, so
We can bank it too.
yeah, let's bank it. We might need
All
it.
right. We bank that momentum. You guys got 3.
So
And the ship in that moment arrives in orbit of Xerxes IV. And you immediately see through the viewport that there is a enormous storm front on the slowly rotating on one side of the planet. And based on what you know, that storm front is drifting towards where the research center is itself. And with the sensors on the ship that are constantly running, you can tell that storm is most certainly the cause of the ionization in the upper atmosphere. And judging from what you see, there's probably less than 6 hours until the storm front itself will hit the research center. And also from the information you know from the Starfleet records, Xerxes IV has never been known to have this is like a mega storm. It looks like it almost encompasses like half the planet.
that's not good. Ensign, were they down there?
There's 12 life signs, sir, including the counselor.
All right.
I think we should definitely evacuate for safety, sir.
I agree. Ensign, it looks like you're going to get to fly the Excalibur sooner than you expected. Commander, Chief, you're with me. Ensign, get the Excalibur ready. Let's take her down.
Yes, sir.
Aye, sir.
And everyone scatters about to get to their stations. The Excalibur has its own miniaturized warp core. Ensign, you get down there onto deck 4 and you head into the cockpit and you begin just engaging all the systems, and the ship hums to life. And the Waverider is interesting because it actually has more in the front, because it's more pointy. It actually has, you are like a single seat up in the front, and there are some smaller stations flanking behind you. But yeah, you guys are ready to go. And the time to get the Waverider ready, probably 30 minutes passed.
All right,
And,
we're on a time crunch here, Ensign. Get us down as quick as you can.
Yes, sir.
All right. So the Waverider itself, you begin initiating the undocking sequence, and the ship, you feel it lurch for a second as like the magnetic locks on it release, and it starts to slowly drift out of the bottom, and it changes from ship to just space in front of you and the planet ahead, and you are loose from the Avalon. Excalibur has been unsheathed.
Nice. How long have you been planning to say that?
2 seconds.
Oh, that was
Hell
great. That
yeah.
was great thinking.
So you're ready.
I've got Excalibur Waverider pulled up.
Check this out. Check this out. That's where the Waverider is on this ship. It like just shoots out right there. That's so cool.
Dark section.
Yep.
All right.
I think Logan would put on both seatbelts and kind of. Number one, you've read the Ensign's record. I'd strap in.
Everybody straps in, and you are ready to go. And Ensign, you start piloting your way down into the atmosphere. And excuse me for a moment. And as you guys are approaching, do you guys want to do anything before you hit Atmo?
I'd like to try to modulate the shields to compensate for ion discharge.
Maybe a good call.
Chief, if you were to utilize the port EPS conduit, you might be able to shore up that buffer matrix.
That's a great idea, Captain. I'll do that immediately.
All right.
Can I assist with that?
You certainly can. To modulate the shields, it'll be a control and security task.
Okay.
And what are you trying to assist with?
I do have a focus in shields as well.
This will increase the critical success range.
All right. So, essentially, I know that ion storm could start disrupting our shields and engines if it gets in range. So I'm trying to modify it to cancel out the ionization frequency by having our shield give the exact opposite frequency.
No, of course.
Now,
so,
in order to assist, do I have to have a focus in something that I'm trying to assist with?
No, you just had to explain to me how you're assisting.
Okay. All right, so I am simply trying to get him more power to the shield since they're going to be modulating quickly, and I'm simply doing that by robbing Peter to pay Paul, essentially. I'm rerouting power from the port EPS conduit through the buffer matrix.
So I'm going to say that's going to be daring and engineering from you.
All right, cool.
Die. And Tak, yours is going to be, like I said, control and security. You want to make sure you toggle that yes for focus used.
Oh, whoops, my B. Here's my second one for focus used.
All right. So, you think you have the modulation frequency right, but you're not quite sure. But it looks stable from your readings.
Captain, I think pulling from the port EDS conduit has given us a stable shield, but honestly, I've never been on this ship before, and I don't know that ionization field. I'm hoping it's stable.
Right.
Yeah, and from looking at the console in front of you, it's holding, but if you take too much, it'll probably just blow out on you.
If we're taking too much ionization, Captain, this shield's gonna go quick, like a glass.
Understood, Chief. Ensign, if there's anyone that can pilot us through this, it's you.
And with that, you see out the front viewport, there's no clouds here, which makes it strange. But you see a crack of energy just ahead of you. And I'm going to spend 2 threat to create a complication right now.
Oh, no, man.
Don't do it.
Ensign, I need you to make me an evasive maneuver. So that'll be
I have a focus and evasive action. Will that help me here?
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
So this
Sorry,
is going to be, as you see that crack, the ship shudders. This is going to be a control con task. The difficulty is going to be 2 because I'm increasing it with my threat spend. And if anyone, in this case, there is no ship assist. So you can spend momentum if you want to get more dice, or you can just go for it.
So I've got my control and con, and I've got a complication of 2.
Yep.
Is there something else I do?
Hit the yes for focus.
Okay.
Go ahead and spend 1 momentum for a die, Sierra. You might as well. We
Sure.
haven't done that mechanic yet, so we'll learn as we go. So drop us
Yeah, how
2
do I
momentum.
do that?
So you just tell me you're spending 1 of the momentum, and
Okay.
you can change that counter on the character sheet for task roll to 3 instead of
Okay.
2. So
Got
now
it.
you're rolling 3 dice. So go ahead and roll them.
Ooh.
All right. You take a quick evasive action, and you manage to move out of the way before that strike hits you. But it's getting increasingly rough. It's getting a little worrisome, and all of you feel the ship, the Waverider itself is shaking pretty violently right now as you're closing in through the upper atmosphere, and I'm spending 2 more, and I'm going to increase the complication level. And you see another one of these cracks go across in front of the ship, and the second crack, and the ionization is getting more and more intense as you get closer to where the research facility is and that storm front. So I need another control and con evasive action from you, Ensign Sorella, and this one is difficulty 3 now.
Woo.
So, okay.
Better hold on to that momentum.
The focus, does that mean I can't use another?
No, you can use your focus as long as it's applicable.
Well, I have all kinds of focuses for,
You can really only ever use 1 on a roll.
but could I switch it to a different one for this roll?
You could. In mechanically, what a focus does is it just increases the critical success range to whatever your discipline is. So no matter what the focus is, it doesn't necessarily.
Right. It's kind of just binary. If focus applies, you just click focus. It doesn't matter which one it is.
Okay.
So, and you're back down to 2 dice, unless you're going to spend momentum. But it's your decision. Ship increasingly shaking violently as you're closing closer and closer to the ground.
Yeah, I better use it.
Go ahead.
All right, I'll burn off 1 more momentum. Just roll me 1 additional die. So since you rolled that first success in the first row, we'll count that. Oh no, that's from your previous. Oh, I'm sorry. So you have 2 successes there, which unfortunately does not meet the level as one of these cracks
Hold it!
strikes the ship. But thankfully, due to the modulation of the shields, you guys managed to resist this strike. But Tak, you can tell the ship will not take another one. Your modulation saved you 1 shot here.
I'll be like, Captain, that was the only one. We cannot take another hit like that.
Ensign, can you get us back out to orbit?
Yeah, the shields
I'll
are
do my
down.
best, sir.
Are you gonna pull out to orbit?
How far down are we? What's our altitude? Is it faster to get through the storm, or could we?
It's faster to go down right now.
All right. Punch it, Ensign!
We'll just try to get below the clouds, sir.
All right.
Wait, there's no clouds. We'll get below the storm. Yeah, that's it.
Well, yeah, this energy is just dissipating out of the air. You've never seen a phenomenon like this before. If you're punching it and going straight down to try to land this thing safely, give me a daring and con roll here. This is going to also be difficulty 3. Your focus is definitely
Can I
still
assist
applied.
her? I have a focus in inspiring subordinates.
Yes,
so
you
I think he'll like put a hand on the back of her chair, like, you can do this, Ensign. Focus.
All right. Would that give me for you, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Captain Logan. That will be command and presence.
Okay.
So 2 die rolls, 2 dice, Ensign Sorella.
So the complications 3, and there's 2.
Yes, there are 2 dice, and your focus still applies.
And my focus. Can I use a value?
Let's see here. What values do you got? Fortune favors the bold would apply here. Which
Don't you have to like challenge it? Values work different, right? They work
values are very strange.
I have one called propulsion as a science, navigation, and art.
That's pretty good.
But is that more like traveling to coordinates or something?
Yes.
I think that would make sense. I just don't remember what you do with values.
Yeah.
I need all the help I can get.
Okay, so whenever you're attempting a task where one of your values would be advantageous, you may spend 1 point of determination. So, if you're spending a point of your determination using one of your values, the main thing you can do is you can create a perfect opportunity, which basically gives you 1 critical success.
But you'll spend off your 1 determination.
Yes, or you will lose your point of determination. There's also, you could use the point of determination after you roll to re-roll all those dice. Those are the 2 that really only apply here.
Okay, let's see how I roll first.
All right.
Here goes.
Difficulty 3. Oh!
Woo!
4 successes there, generating a momentum. You realize in the moment as you're coming down, to get this ship down safely, you are not going to be able to get all the way to the research facility. You're going to have to land a few kilometers away. But it's the only thing that's going to happen. The only thing that you can really do here without, unless you want to keep risking it. You find a clearing as you're streaking down through the atmosphere, the ship shaking. You're coming in for your final approach, hitting a few buttons as there's a few little landing skids that come out of the bottom of the ship. And you bring her down softly into this clearing, and you manage to safely land on the planet. And I think, the shaking stops, and you're all on the ground safely.
Good piloting, Ensign.
Agreed. Well done, Ensign.
How far out are we?
Off 2 kilometers.
All right. We don't know what's down here. Grab phasers, tricorders. How long do we have until the storm completely overtakes us, Commander?
With the time to get down, I'm going to say you now have 4 hours until the storm front reaches the research center. And you definitely do not want to be flying out when that storm is overhead.
Will the storm hit the research center first and then us? Like, where
Yes.
are we from in?
So this is the storm front. Research center is here, and you guys are like here. So the storm front's closing this direction. The storm is closer to the research center than it is to you guys.
Captain, we have a maximum of 4 hours before we have to bug out again. I would suggest we hustle.
I concur. Let's get moving, people.
Captain, Commander, quick question.
Go ahead.
We weren't even necessarily close to that storm, and we started picking up those bolts of ionization. If we're going to be cutting it close to the research facility, I could disconnect the main power. If we're getting close, it won't fry the systems. However, as we're getting back, it'll still take me a minute to reconnect everything for takeoff. The choice is yours. I can do either.
Whatever you think is best, Chief.
Okay. I'm going to disconnect main power, so essentially everything is in mass shutdown, so nothing gets fried, hopefully, if
When
we start cutting it close as the storm gets closer.
So as you actually have to go and manually disconnect a few of the EPS conduits that lead from all the consoles up into the micro warp core, and as you do that, the ship just hums down, and all the lights on board shut down, and everything off. Everything is off on the ship. It's now dark. Well, it's not dark. There's still a window, and you can see outside, but everything inside the ship is off.
All right, just bear in mind we've got a 3.5-minute startup sequence, Chief. But no point coming back to a ship that's fried. That's a significantly worse scenario.
I've left the panel open and all my spanners right next to them. Hopefully, we can get moving quickly.
Yep.
All right. Let's move.
So there's a rear hatch that kind of folds down that you can go out, or there's also 2 smaller doors that you can open up on the left of the port or starboard side of the ship.
We'll drop the hatch.
All right. The hatch opens up on the back of the ship. You see you're in this it's a small grassy area. Ensign Sorella found a pretty amazing place to land, as pretty much everything else around here is just densely packed forest. It's not entirely a forest that any of you would be used to. It's full of these kind of creeping purple vines and strange flora, brightly fluorescent colored flowers, and it's very strange for what you've seen. It almost seems like that you could have seen this on an earlier. It seems almost primitive.
Like almost, when you say primitive, like Cretaceous period or something?
Yeah. Like it seems almost like an early Earth.
Like primordial?
Yeah.
Commander, I'm not terribly familiar with the flora and fauna of Xerxes IV, but I don't recall this being a primordial planet. Am I wrong about that?
On the way down, I think Nora probably would have done a very quick overview of the planet.
Based on Starfleet's last records they have of Xerxes IV, it is not a primordial planet. It was fairly advanced in its flora's evolution.
Sir, this is not normal at all from what I've been reading in records. I strongly suggest we hustle. And I'll get my tricorder out and I'll start checking the area, everything like that. And I'm going off on a jog.
Okay.
I will assist the commander as we're moving. Just
Yes, of course. And as you all step out of the the Waverider, and you start making your way towards where you believe the research center is, because there are no paths or any known paths or anything. You begin to hear strange grunts and shrieks.
My phaser's out.
Phaser's on stun.
You kind of hear them all around you, and you're looking around trying to figure out the source of it. And there's a large rock kind of ahead of you, and you see a group of strange, almost Neanderthal-looking humanoids climbing up on the rock. And they're all grunting and shrieking at you. And as you look over them, you see that all of them seem to be wearing the tattered remains of Starfleet uniforms. The Federation issued uniforms that a science team might wear. And one of these creatures, in fact, seems to be wielding a phaser, even though it doesn't look like it knows what it's doing with it. And with that, the credits roll. And says
to be continued.
Hell yeah.
Oh, man.
Perfect spot.
That was fun. That was a good setup.
Whew.
Dang.
All right. So, thank you everyone in chat who hung out and came to check out this first episode. We're still figuring out the system quite a bit, but that was a ton of fun. Let's go around the virtual table here and let everyone introduce themselves. We kind of started with a cold open, and also let's talk about it a little bit. We got a little bit of time. Let's talk about our favorite moments and some kind of anything that stuck out to you. And Kayla, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm Kayla Miss Misery here on Twitch and on Twitter. You can see my handle up above. I would suggest following me there because I'm on several different games throughout the week. But as for here, yeah, it was great. Definitely trying to get comfortable with the rules of the game and the jargon involved. But I really liked the whole sequence of us getting on the ship and getting used to it, doing that whole thing.
That was awesome. All right, Sean, I think you're next in the roundabout there.
Well, I am Sean, Castle Mac Sean, on here and Twitter. Yeah, no, I loved it. I mean, everybody, you guys did great. Steven, I knew it. I like what we got going on. It's a little cold, it's a little weird, but we're getting over it. Miz, I like that we're both a little awkward trying to push through and be friends. Sierra, I'm loving Sarala, trying to push it. I love that you pulled it out. That was awesome. Easy, I loved it. You set it up great. I'm loving everything. I saw the ship, so I'm feeling it. I love techno babble. I'm making this shit up as I go along, and I love it.
Awesome. All right, Sierra.
I think the word pictures are great. It's really a lot of fun. And I think playing with you guys, because you're really experienced at doing the Twitch stuff, I'm very new at this. I love the volleyball you all are playing by passing each person a turn and an opportunity to have something to say and bring their character information in.
Awesome, thanks. We're glad to have you. Easy. How about you, man? You enjoy that?
Yeah, that was great. All of you did awesome with your little scenes you just kicked off yourself. I just sitting there smiling because it was just so great how you were carrying all that, and kind of also echoing Sierra a little bit. It's this is my first time ever DMing on Twitch or being in any Twitch game, so it's fun getting into this, and I look forward to seeing more adventures of the Avalon's crew as we continue on.
Yeah, man. So I loved every second of it. Easy, you were fantastic. I loved it. It was awesome. The whole bridge crew, you guys are just fantastic. This is so much fun. I'm just like geeking out over here. And with that, let's go ahead and launch a raid. We're going to pay it forward to Welcome Party RPG. Normally, we don't advocate for raid cheers, but let's go ahead and everybody get in and say something like, make it so. Right, so they know we're coming from a Star Trek background. So we'll watch this raid. Guys, this is going to be bi-weekly, 8:30 EST, from here until the Avalon meets its doom from a self-destruct sequence, which is, probably never going to happen. So, thank you guys again for joining us. Adios!